Hello, and welcome to a conversation with author Amber J. Parker. And we are going to talk about a very important subject, faith and mental health. And she shares her redemption story on butterflyliving.org, which you can find the story there, but she also has a new book out. So I would like to welcome my friend and author, Amber Parker.
Thank you for having me, friend.
It's so good to see you, and especially to talk about mental health and our faith because I don't think we talk about it enough. It's one of those topics
Yes.
which I'm sure you know we bury a little bit. So
hmm
let's start. If you could share your story about the discovery of your husband's mental crisis.
Certainly. So, we are a military family, and my husband has deployed a few times. And there was an IED explosion during the first deployment that ended up taking the life of one of his buddies.
Mm.
You fast forward many, many years later, and it began to come out in nightmares for him. He did not share that with me, but then he had been trying to handle it on his own for about a year before I discovered that he was dealing with these terrible nightmares every night, to such a degree that he didn't want to face the night, and he began to try to cope with alcohol. And so the Lord allowed me to discover that he had nightmares, that he was coping and trying to face the night with self-medicating with alcohol. And also, I realized that he had PTSD one specific night. The Lord allowed me to come alongside. And so that night, I have a new book coming out, or I have a new book. And in that book, I share about that pivotal night when I became a mental health caregiver. And then, as you continue forward, we went through, it was about 2 years of lengthy crisis. He ended up having suicidal ideation, plan, attempt, hospitalizations, and me fighting to get him the help that he needed and the mental health therapy that he needed in order to heal his trauma. And that took a long while to find the right therapy. So, yeah.
Wow, Amber. I mean, what a brave, brave journey you and your husband have been on. And I am so grateful for people like you and your husband that are willing to be transparent and vulnerable
hmm
and share your story to help others, which there are many others that can learn and grow through your
Yeah.
journey. And your book
Yeah.
is amazing. I really think it's going to help a lot of people that have struggled or are struggling with some of these same issues. So, you beautifully weave faith and mental health in your redemption story. And the redemption
hmm
story, part of it's at Living, but you share the whole story in your book. Can you
I
tell
do.
us key ways your faith has helped you navigate mental health and caregiving during this mental crisis?
Key ways my faith has helped me navigate it. Um, well, I'm a strong believer. I was saved when I was like 4 years old, and I really have wanted to know God, and have, I had a biblical example in terms of my parents wanting to raise us to know the Lord. So I had a lot of like Christian school education and whatnot, really good faith background. And so to enter into crisis, I'd been walking with the Lord for a while, and I'd already had to go through some hard times, such as those deployments where I didn't know if, well, the first deployment, if my fiance would come home to marry me or not. It was right before we got married, and then subsequent ones with my husband. So kind of, you grow in your faith as each trial and struggle you face with each, trial you face. And so as I entered into crisis, I had already been doing prayer through some of those other trials.
Mhm.
But in this one, I mean, it really leveled me. because it wasn't, oh, he comes home and now he's safe. Instead, it was like our battle, it just loomed out in front and there was no end in sight, because I couldn't cure him, I couldn't fix him. And so it was just this long journey. You read, Paul talks about it, James talks about it, in the New Testament about perseverance and what that can produce. It can help with our character, and then producing hope. I think that's in Romans. But yeah, so prayer was an integral piece, trying to lean on the Lord and just ask him for strength. It was exhausting. I felt alone most of the time. Uh, and even though I'm a physician assistant, even though as a medical provider, I did not know, I didn't know how to be a crisis caregiver, on the clock all the time for a loved one. And so just asking the Lord for guidance, trying to research, medical or psychological things to understand what we were facing. But then also, I had a couple prayer partners who would partner with me, especially in the nights, in terms of protecting my husband's mind and praying over his mind that the enemy would not give him new ideas and new ways to harm himself, because Satan would do that,
Mhm.
in terms of attacking. In
I
terms
love
of
that you say
my,
prayer, not just
yes,
prayer.
prayer.
Prayer is so critical, but you said prayer and community
Yes, prayer and
because
community.
often
Yes.
we isolate. You're already isolated in
Hmm.
this crisis, and
Yeah.
then we isolate further because we don't want to share. We're
Hmm.
embarrassed, we feel guilty, or so I love that you reached out
Hmm.
and found prayer community. That's just so
Yeah.
critical in this situation,
Yeah.
in so many of our situations that we face.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, the difficult nuance with that, with suicidal crisis specifically, is like when my husband told me, that he was struggling with suicidal thoughts. I wanted, I knew it was a spiritual battle as well, and I wanted to have as much support as we could. And he said, no, 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 like I can't have lots of people know, because they're with PTSD and also with suicide, there's a lot of shame present.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
so if you feel like you're exposed, it would have increased his risk. And so I wanted more community and more prayer partners, but I had to be really careful with that balance of keeping him alive and having community and having those prayer partners. So it's just like a couple throughout. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Well, it
Community
says two or three are
is
gathered.
needed.
You don't need
Where two
20,
or three. Yeah, you're right. You are
right?
right.
Well,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
wrote this quote, Amber, and it's just
Yeah.
so powerful. You said, God has the power to heal in an instant, heal
Hmm.
gradually, or sustain someone through suffering and disease where they do not see healing on this side of heaven. Can you
Hmm.
share
Yeah.
how this inspiring truth has helped you, your husband, and can help others?
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we look at God, he is almighty. He is all powerful. He is eternal. So he is outside of time. And he is um, the I'm trying to think of the name of healer, but Rapha, I think there's another word right before it. Maybe you remember it. But so like he, I mean, you read about in the Gospels. I've been watching The Chosen, like watching a lot of The Chosen, on the last like month or two, and it's amazing to see how Jesus, God, he can heal in an instant. His power is the power that can heal. And you hear stories of people who pray and then, their cancer is gone
Mhm.
or whatever it is, it all of a sudden is gone in an instant. And so, God is mighty and powerful to do that, but he doesn't always do that. And so to believe, with this story, I knew that God could heal my husband if that was his will to heal him immediately. But for us, and as we were walking through it, I didn't know if it would be that second piece or the third one, if he would gradually heal or whether we would never see
Mhm.
um, healing of mental crisis and mental health issues on this side of heaven. And so for us, it was that gradual healing where you have to keep going and keep doing, the thing. For us. For him, it was the therapy. The EMDR therapy is actually the therapy that really finally broke through and began to heal his trauma. And so just the continual persevering through that and finally having having improvement. I won't say we have full healing on this side of heaven either, because we can have ups and downs with our health. But then, even if our suffering or the question we're asking the Lord in terms of healing, even if his answer is, I will sustain you. I will keep giving you my strength. I will sustain you. I actually in the Chosen, and I'm not sure if it was in the actual Gospels, but I believe it was the character James in
Mhm.
the Chosen series, and he had it was like a back or leg issue, and Jesus could have healed him, but then Jesus said basically, my strength is sufficient for you, or my power is made, and I don't know if he says it in there, but basically the idea of my power is made perfect in your weakness. Basically, like you are more of a testimony in terms of coming alongside and serving others because you do have this piece of suffering.
Mhm.
And so um, I think it's hard. It's
Yes.
hard, when we don't get healing, when the answer is no or not yet, and it keeps being that. Yeah, it is weary, but then we know that we serve a God who cares about us, who wants the best, but also who is working for good.
That's right.
And we don't know what the good is. I think Romans 8:28, right? But yeah, we don't know what that good is, but it is good in accordance with his will. And so trying to have faith and say, okay, Lord, I trust you. Please heal. And if you don't, help me, strengthen me, give me your grace, give me yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah. I mean, he
yeah.
says in this
Yeah.
world we will have trouble. The
Mm-hmm.
difference as believers, we have him with us in our trouble. So we're really
Yes.
never
Yes.
alone. So that's
Yes.
just so comforting. Your story has so many components. And
Yeah.
I do believe it's a redemption story, and all the details
Hmm.
are really in Amber's book. If you want to read the whole story, it's very
Hmm.
powerful. So, can you
Yeah.
direct us to what you're doing about your book, where the audience can connect with you?
Sure. Yeah. So, and I can't remember if we mentioned what my book is called, but the title is The Forgotten Caregiver of Mental Crisis. And I'm Amber J. Parker. You can go to my website, amberjparker.com, and you can, scroll around, find different stuff. I have like a blog and a shop. There's lots of stuff there. But yeah, connect there. Make sure to order my book. When you order my book, I actually have a gift inside of the book. There's a QR code and also a website if you can't use a QR code. And you can then receive my gift to you, which is an adjunct. It is an ebook called How to Find a Mental Health Therapist. I wrote it um, out of the steps I took when we were desperate and I couldn't find someone. And then later I wrote those steps. And then I also have a Spotify music list because when when I couldn't focus my mind and read the Bible, I would have music and truth pour over me. So yeah, so Amazon and then my website really. Yeah.
Well, thank
Yeah.
you for being here. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
your story. And if you'd like to learn about Amber, I will put her information in the comments. You can go to butterflyliving.org
Mhm.
and type in faith and mental health, or go to Amazon and type in Amber J. Parker, or tell us the title of
Mhm.
the book one more time.
Yeah, the forgotten caregiver of mental crisis.
That's great.
Yeah.
So thank you for
Yeah.
being here. And if
Yeah.
you enjoyed this conversation, please subscribe. Thank you, Amber.
Oh, I am on YouTube also, Amber J. Parker as well. Yeah, I
Awesome.
forgot. Yeah,
Awesome.
because you're on YouTube as well. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Thank you
thank
for having
you.
me, Mary.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Be blessed.